Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the In Between Podcast with your host as always, Kyle McLemore. Thank you so much for tuning in, and if you haven't already, smack that like and subscribe button because it's much appreciated. And you know, there's not a whole lot out there that's keeping this show going other than my iron will and your iron support. So thank you so much, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe today because, oh boy, do I appreciate it. What's new with you guys? You may have noticed, oh yeah, it's a beanie-sode. A beanie episode. Beanisode. Because you know, it's marching on summer here. It's technically filming this on the 1st, but it probably won't post for a couple days. But we're in June. We're knocking on summer's door. And so you know, anytime the temperature just happens to stay under the 70s, I'm going to take advantage and bust out the beanie. So there it is for your viewing enjoyment. It's a beanie-sode. Hit that beanie music. But yeah, it's a beanie episode. Always happy to bust out the beanie because I fucking love this thing. And it's rare to use it outside of the winter months. So yeah, so happy to have it on. So happy to be here with you. What's new with you guys? What would you like to talk about? Because there are several things that we could go over. Do you want to talk about what's new and exciting in the headlines? Or would you rather talk about what's new and upcoming in the world of cinema? Because as we enter a new month, it's a whole new slew of movies coming soon. So I don't know, what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about what's new and upcoming. What is new and upcoming? Coming up first is, I think it comes out today, actually. I'm going to try to slip over and see it. It's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The first one is Into the Spider-Verse. This one is Across the Spider-Verse. Not a big change in the name, Spider-Man Into Across. The first one really good. First one had such amazing visuals, such amazing animation. Had this real comic book feel to it, like staring at a comic book, but you're watching a movie. Like it had a really great comic book animation. Even when they're knocking on the doors, it would say knock, 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 very comic book-esque, which is the coolest thing you could do in terms of animation. That coupled with it being a really good movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was great. Looking forward to Across the Spider-Verse. You know what's really great about Into the Spider-Verse? It probably has my all-time favorite Stan Lee cameo or Stan Lee appearance or whatever you want to call it. The Stan Lee cameo, Stan Lee-meo. But yeah, whatever you want to call it, it has probably my favorite, and I think it was technically his last one he did before unfortunately passing, but the one in Into the Spider-Verse is my favorite because it's it is such a perfect 1-2. It is such a perfect, hits you so perfectly, in the feelings, and then just follows it up with this amazing uppercut of a joke. It is such a perfect 1-2. He's I think he's buying a cheap Spider-Man. It's right after, spoilers if you haven't seen the 2018 film yet, you loser. The Spider-Man in his universe passes, and they're having a big funeral in New York, and he buys a cheap little New York spider suit, and he's buying it from Stan Lee, and he's what if it doesn't fit? And Stan Lee's don't worry, kid, it always fits eventually. Which is such a good you're not ready for the responsibility, but it's gonna come with time. It's gonna, no matter, I can't even describe how awesome that line is, but just don't worry, kid, it always fits eventually. Like, you're gonna grow in, like, you're gonna grow into it eventually. Like, eventually you'll be the hero. Such a great line. And then, like, 1 second just, like, zooms slightly out to just be like, bing, no refunds ever. And he's just like, eh? Such a great, boom. It like, gives me the chills every time, man. Just, like, his amazing delivery of that. Don't worry, kid. It always fits. Eventually. And then just like, no refunds. Stan Lee is the manly. Awesome. Looking forward to Across the Spider-Verse. Looking forward to going across the Spider-Verse. I'm looking forward to seeing who, like, the villains are other than just other Spider-Men. That seems to be, like, the main driving, like, selling point that they keep showing in the previews is just all the other Spider-Men from all the other universes. But I want to see, like, who the main bad guy is. It had Kingpin in the first one. Kingpin, Doc Ock, but like a different chick, Doc Ock. And then like a Spanish Scorpion, which is cool. It's kind of rare that we ever get to see Scorpion as like a villain. So, because he's like one of the more kind of outrageous villains. So it's hard to make him like badass and not be like, dude, you look ridiculous with that giant tail. Like, you look insane. It's not practical. It doesn't work on any level. So when Scorpion does work, it's like, fuck yeah, dude, Scorpion. So rare to see an appearance. So I'm looking forward to seeing who the villains might be. Maybe they'll throw a little Kraven the Hunter in there because, I mean, like, the whole Kraven thing is really building with him, like, trying to get that movie going. A solo Kraven movie, which is insane. But this being in a world where we live in a solo Morbius movie, so it's like, it's all possible. Who cares? Make as many crazy solo obscure villain movies as you want, because Morbius was pretty entertaining, so screw it. Let's do a Kraven the Hunter. Looking forward to it. What else is coming out? I looked ahead and I know for sure it's Transformers Robots in Disguise. That should be cool, especially because it's the Beast Wars edition. I don't know why. If there was a way to, like, I don't know, explain why are Beast Wars so much cooler than Transformers? Why are what are they called? The Animorphers or the Beast Morphers? Because they're the Autobots. The Autobots, what are the bad guys? Decepticons. And then the Beastamorphs or the Animacons or something? I don't know, whatever. But speaking purely as like a consumer, I don't know what it was, but I was never into Transformers. Something about, like, maybe it's just because I'm not a big car guy, but something about just cars transforming or airplanes transforming into robots, not into it. But you make animals transform, I am all in on this, dude. It's like that scene from Big, like when they're talking about like the building, like Transformer. He's like, I don't get it. Like, why would you want to play with a building that turns into a robot? And then he's like, but you make it a bug and I'm all in. You make it an animal, I'm all in. It was the best show, and they had the greatest toys, the coolest, all kinds of like bugs and dinosaurs and crazy animals and cheetahs and leopards and snow tigers. Oh man, I cannot wait for that movie. And I'm purposely like stopping myself from doing like a refresher on Beast Wars because I want to be like, oh yeah. I remember, who doesn't love the cheetah guy? I can't really remember why other than him looking like a badass, and I want to say that he was maybe like the funny one. There was also like the rat who was also kind of like the funny one, and that was always the pairing. There was like the three, dude, my three favorites. Cheetora, I don't know, the cheetah robot, the rat robot, and then the raptor robot, dude. The raptor robot was the coolest because he was like first a bad guy and then he switches over to the good guys, man. What's cooler than that? And I have no memories, no clear, vivid memories other than one. Other than one episode where they did this amazing thing that is forever burned into my mind. And it's probably burned into my mind in a way that it's not even how I remember it probably different from the way it actually happens. And I'll try to look it up and have the actual clip behind me. But I remember there being an episode where it's like the pairing. It's Cheetah Dude, Rat Dude, and the Raptor guy, and they're all like teamed up together, and they're all like pinned down like by all the bad guys, and they're like behind a rock, and they're just like, all right, well, this is it. Like, we're done for. So the only thing we can do is go out guns a-blazing. And they literally do like, and this was before I was even like aware. This is when I was like 8 or 9 or 10 maximum. It's got to be more like the 7, 8, 9 range. But dude, I'm almost positive they do a straight up Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid reference, because they're like, I just remember them being behind the rock and being like, all right, one last ride, and they fucking just share, and it has them come out from like behind the rock, and it literally goes like all like kind of like that brownish like western, like as they just like and it just like freeze phrases on them like coming out behind the rock, just like and it's just like freeze frame, and it's just like this badass like Butch Cassidy and Sundance kind of ending. And I'm pretty sure that's how the episode ends, in like a cliffhanger of just like I have no other memories other than that being like the greatest thing I had ever seen up until that point. The other greatest thing is, of course, that Rhino when he has like his Gatling gun, like Rhino head arm. So awesome. But hopefully that's how I remember it, is how it happened. I'm gonna definitely research it later and see if I'm accurate or not, because I remember that shot so clearly and vividly, it being like one of my favorite things ever. But for whatever reason, Beast Wars is the shizzle. But I mean, like, man, the whole Transformer timeline is like getting really out of control and like really convoluted, and like I can't even remember what's going on, dude. Like, it starts with Shia, and then like I think Shia rides with it for like another 2 or 3, and then we bounce to the past with Bumblebee, and then we shoot back to the present with Mark Wahlberg. But then there's the one where they fight with King Arthur, and then they go to the moon. Like okay, I'm pretty sure the timeline of Transformers is already like insane, and I'm pretty sure my memory is even more like mixed up and weirdly backwards. I can't remember what's going on in the world of Transformers. Also, Optimus Prime was like a bad guy for a while. You know what was one of my favorite Transformer memories from those movies? Is it up until like the 4th one, Optimus is just like, running around or turning into a truck and driving around. And then out of nowhere, like on the 4th movie at the very end, he's like, hey, I gotta go check out this signal. I'll see you later. And he just like Iron Giant has these rocket boots, and it's like, whoa, Optimus, when were you gonna tell us that you were like a rocket ship all by yourself? Like, where did you get these rocket boots, dude? And why did you wait till the 4th movie to use them? I just remember being like, huh? He's a spaceship this whole time? Like, what? How much fuel do you carry, Optimus Prime? How much fuel do you have in your robot bladder that you're just like straight going to another galaxy, dude? So really I'm mixed up, and I desperately don't want to go back and watch all the movies to try to remember. I might maybe watch the most recent one. I can't even remember. And you know what also is weird about Transformers? I know that I'm really going off on a Transformer tangent here, but Transformers has that interesting thing. It's always really, really interesting to me when it's like they substitute insane amounts of violence and gore, but it's like it's cool because it's a robot. So I remember there being scenes where like Optimus is like like stabbing robots in the eyes and like ripping their jaws open and like murdering robots in the most brutal war crime fashion I've ever seen in my life. But it's okay because it's not blood and guts. It's like oil and like transistor parts. It's like he like punches through his throat and like rips out his robot heart. It's like oil spraying everywhere. It's like crazy violent, but it's like it's cool. It's cool. It's not really violent. It's a motor oil and like a engine heart, but you know. But anyway, tearing the dude in half. Oh, he's got him like by his arms and like just like rips him in half. But it's cool because it's a robot. Keep that PG rating because it's all just oil and motor parts, not blood and guts, but like the same exact motion of just like, oh. There's like a robot in the corner like trying to stuff all his like stuff back into his, oh god. He's like half a robot body just crawling. Saving Private Ryan status, but it's like, it's cool because it's motor oil, so keep it PG. That was always like it's not just Transformers too. They do that with like any time there's like a robot themed movie. They up the insane violence and gore, but for whatever reason, even like in kids shows, like what is it, Samurai Jack? You guys ever watch Samurai Jack? Dude, he is like, it's like Kill Bill level. Like he'll cut off a robot's arm, and it's just like blasting like oil because he fights all these future robots. But it's like if you look at it as like him fighting like a human, it's horrifically graphic, but in the best way though. It's a cool little workaround. Like if you really want to up the insane violence, just make it a robot and you can do anything you want. Like the most hardcore Saw torture scene is totally fine if it's a robot. But yeah, looking forward to Transmorphers morphing in the sky. What else? The Flash movie. But I mean, like, I feel like there's not much to say about the Flash movie other than I'm gonna see it. I'm looking forward to it. Michael Keaton, Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller. I'm looking forward to seeing if this will finally be the end of Ezra Miller. Are they even gonna have like a red carpet thing? Is he even gonna be like at a premiere? Is he technically even like free on the streets? Isn't he like being extradited back to Hawaii where he like kidnapped somebody or something? Like really weird. Boy, if anybody really wants to run back in time and fits the timeline, it should probably be Ezra Miller because that dude's timeline is really spiraling out of control. He's got the evil version of himself messing up his life. Yeah, Ezra Miller, out of control. And I want to say that there's not a lot else coming out in June because of those two bangers. They have to like spread themselves apart so they don't overlap and try to fight. So Transformers coming out, little bit of waiting time. Flash, little bit of waiting time. Indiana Jones at the end of the month, which, man, I am feeling very skeptical because it's like, never forget, dude. Never forget the abomination, the borderline war crime that is Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. KOCS. Indiana Jones, KOCS. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's been a while, for good reason. It's been a while since I've seen it, and whenever I think of it, all I see is just, oh God, Shia LaBeouf swinging through vines. Oh God. Oh God, weird alien thing at the end. Man, that movie, I was in denial. I was in Egypt on denial for so long, dude. Just being like, no, it was good. I liked it. No, dude, it was good. Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was good. And then eventually just like really having to look at myself in the mirror and being like, it's not good. It's really, really bad. Which hurts my soul. Hurts me to my core. To love something so much like Indiana Jones. To watch Indiana Jones almost every day of my childhood. And to just have such a unspeakably bad movie. Now, again, I haven't seen it for a while, so maybe it's not as bad. Maybe my PTSD is making a bigger deal than it should, but I remember it being not that great, and I remember being horribly broken, like shattered to pieces because it's so terrible. And I can't, look at this new one without just thinking of the other one because Harrison Ford looks basically the same. He was, old then and he's, older now. So it's all I see is just that last movie that was so bad. And that last movie was directed by Spielberg, dude. What are you doing with, your content? This one coming out, not a Spielberger, which, again, makes me very nervousy kind of. Oh man, and you know what I just remembered too? The whole intro, dude, to Crystal Skull, the whole nuclear bomb, and he's in a refrigerator, dude. It hurts me to have to remember that movie. But having said that, I'm gonna see it. Having said that, I'm gonna see it. It's Indiana Jones. I have to go see it because I love it. Because I love it. But yeah, we'll see. And I think that kind of wraps up June. I'm pretty sure that wraps up June for the most part on the big bangers. There's also a couple of smaller ones that are coming out, but I think those are the main big bangers. And so let's move on to a little bit of modern news, a little bit of modern gossip, some modern headlines, some popular stuff that everyone seems to be concerned about, or at least voicing their opinion, and that's Mr. Pacino himself with a new baby on the way. That's right, his girlfriend is recently pregnant, and the part that makes it interesting is his girlfriend, I guess. And the best part of it is, everyone's it's really blowing up. And I think it's because, obviously, she's pregnant, and obviously there's a little bit of an age gap, just a tiny bit. Let me see if I can get it. Boo, there it is. So this is child number 4 for Mr. Pacino, who will be a father at 83. And this will be his girlfriend's first child, so number 1 for her, at 29. So, she's not terribly young, but he's also terribly old. And I love, when you see the picture of it, it's okay, definitely I get it, Pacino. Definitely Al Pacino had no chance in resisting because she's a smoke show for sure, but then also, a 50-plus year difference. And then also, I love how it's you look at her, it's oh my goodness, unbelievably stunning. And they only ever show, the worst pictures they can find of, the oldest looking, craziest Pacino ever, dude. I'm sure it's probably not easy to take a really good photo in your 80s and be hey, you're looking pretty good there. But goddamn, dude, they are mercilessly just finding all of the most candid, no makeup, getting out of the car, just the most horrific photos ever to put next to her most stunning photo ever. So it's you get a real contrast of Beauty and the Beast over here, of Beauty and the Crypt Keeper over here. It's oh goddamn. And then it's oh boy, that's crazy. Oh boy, she must really older. Oh dude, just these pictures of him just being the most. It looks like he's lost in a museum and they just found him. Hey, look, we found Al Pacino. But then they're oh, yeah. She's pretty cool, right? You should look at her dating history because back in 2017, she was also dating an old timer who was old back in 2017 when she was dating Mick Jagger, who was 74 at the time that she was 22. What is that? 52 years difference, bro. Man. But then again, it's like, hey, Mick Jagger, you had no chance, dude. Mick Jagger, this 22-year-old smoke show comes up to you. It's like, you think you're going to be able to resist Mick Jagger at 74? No chance. And it's like, that's not all. Because then after she was done with Mick Jagger, she went back to the fucking Hollywood graveyard and was like, who else is knocking on the door here? Who else? Does she go to like the Hollywood cemetery and just like, who's looking for plots, huh? Hey, she goes to the registration. Hey, has anybody been around here looking for like a good spot to buy up for the next coming years? Yeah, as a matter of fact, Clint Eastwood was just walking. Clint Eastwood, say less, because this chick hanging out with Clint as well, dude. She is on just like Hollywood, Old Street. Who else is up there in the age category? Man, Mick Jagger, which is like, first of all, I get it. It's Mick. Basically the symbol of sex from like the 70s, sex and rock and roll, dude. That's Mick Jagger. But then also 74, dude. Oh my God, dude. 80-something-year-old Pacino. And they're making it work because she's pregnant, dude. Can you imagine? 74-year-old, but no, not even 74. I'm thinking of back when she dated Jagger, dude. 83-year-old Pacino. Hey, Pacino, how'd you meet your new girlfriend? Oh, you mean that Oh, man, but she's definitely playing the long game, dude. I mean, like, pretty good deal. You got his kid. Pacino, dude, 80. It's just like, it's the side-by-side that really gets you. It's the side-by-side of their pictures that really, like, make it, like, dynamic. Yeah, just his insane oldness. Oh, man, and you guys want to talk about who was? And in a blast from the past, I was talking to somebody at my work about, do you guys remember like the dawn of like reality television? How insane is it to like live through a time when you can watch like the evolution of like reality TV, like how it starts out as something like as basic and like set in reality as like Cops, like reality, or like the real world where it's like, you know, real reality stuff, and to watch that formula evolve into something like Flavor of Love or Rock of Love, and to have lived through it is very interesting. And I'm probably gonna do like a deep dive later into Rock of Love, because I was talking to a work colleague, and they were talking about how insane it is. And I think just from us talking about it, it got into my algorithm, because all of a sudden I'm scrolling through like Reels or whatever, and I get a few Rock of Love clips pop up. And dude, the amount of like the level that I was not ready for, the level of real insanity that I was not prepared, the blast from the past that I got, dude. I'm just like, day one, they have all these, and every single one of them, dude, all these women, all of these like they had like some old ones too, like these old rocker chicks who were like, clearly they were groupies back in the day, and they were like clearly run through the road a few too many times. And there's a part like right at the beginning, Bret Michaels comes out, basically like what I'm doing right now with this, always with that stupid headband thing, dude, always. And I'm pretty sure he was always doing the headband thing like this, because I'm pretty sure he was like bald underneath, I think. because he never didn't have like that thing to cover up like exactly where you'd be balding like crazy, dude. But anyway, it's like day one, and he's like, welcome to the thing. Let's go to the house, and we're going to have a great time. But before we do that, I got my bouncer here, Big John, and he's just going to give you guys the rules, and then I'll meet you inside. See you later. And he runs off, and then like Big John's like, all right, you're cool. You're good, you're good to go, until there's like 5 left. And he's like, all right, you 5, see ya. You 5, you're done. See you later. Thanks for coming out. And it is like the coldest, most brutal, like, ew, you didn't make the cut. And like one of the girls is like, you legit flew me here from Michigan. What? Is this like a prank? Like, why did you waste so much of my time? I had to audition. I had to get a flight. I had to endure the 8-hour layover. I had to travel here to finally show up, and then just to be like, well, glad you came out. See you later, old lady. So brutal. Oh, dude, and I remember watching that. I was like 11. And still at the time of being such a young child and still being like, wow, what a bunch of whoas. Because, dude, basically they have like an orgy like on night 1. I vividly remember that, even as a kid, being like, damn, so they all just banged on the first night. They put up no effort to like even try to resist him a little bit. It's like day 1, he bangs them all, and it's like, all right, well, that was fun, I guess. I think one of them got like his name tattooed like on day 2, and then she gets like eliminated immediately after. Like that, I just remember that show being a goldmine of like insanity. And I think that was like a spinoff of Flavor of Love, which I think Flavor was the original. And I don't remember much other than the loogie heard round the world, which of course everyone remembers. But I have one other memory which was also so insane. 10, 11-year-old me was just like, because again, day 1, Flavor Flav just decides, you know what? I don't care what any of your names are. You get new names today. And they would be like the most insane. He'd be like, all right, girl walks up with giant, huge titties. And he's just like, I'm going to call you Titty Cannon. And then some girl walks up with like a gap in her tooth. And he's just like, I'm going to call you Michael Strahan. Like, he had the most insane nicknames that were just like crazy. And just like, and then like, I don't think anyone never knew their real name the whole entire season. Just, you're always just like sugar tits to me. Always, for the rest of our lives. God damn that. I'm going to have to do a deep dive. I'll do a deep dive. And then we'll talk more of crazy, trashy reality TV in the coming episodes, but that'll probably do it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have you not hit that like and subscribe button? Because it's right there, and it definitely helps the channel. I am your host, as always, Kyle McLemore, and we'll see you next time on the pod.